we're taking you inside the video game convention that's 6 times bigger than E3, showing you how to play Pokemon like the pros and taking Lucille to the next level.
You're doing this without me?
This is the IGN Show.
This is the IGN Show. Hello, and welcome to the IGN Show. I'm William Haynes, and joining me once again, Alana Pierce and Naomi Kyle. Today's episode in one word, Incredible Awesome.
That's not a word. But coming up, we have the pro tips that will take your Pokemon game to the next level, the World Championships kind of level. Plus, we'll reveal the top 5 most anticipated games as decided by math and you, our audience.
Then we'll review Madden NFL 18 and tell you if this year's edition of the long-running series will pull you away from watching the real thing. And later, we've got a WWE 2K Teen exclusive, the announcement of brand new additions to the roster.
But first, it's time to talk about one of the biggest esports events of the year, the highly anticipated Overwatch World Cup, which is set for November in Anaheim, California.
The competition started off with teams representing 32 different countries battling it out, and now the field has been narrowed to just 8.
It's been a wild ride, and Malik Forte sat down with the developers at Blizzard for their take on the Overwatch esports experience. Take a look.
Welcome back to IGN's Esports Stories. I am your host, Malik Forte, and I am back at the Blizzard campus to talk about my favorite game, Overwatch.
When the game was released in beta, we were already seeing tournaments pop up. Even when the infrastructure wasn't there yet to support tournaments and the features weren't there yet. I mean, the game's in beta, you're just supposed to play the game. But it was really well received and people were already running tournaments.
Since its initial release, the game has kept expanding with new updates, maps, heroes, and the addition of competitive mode. Subsequently, the fan base has continued to grow, so much so that third-party tournament organizers took notice. As a lead-up to this unprecedented evolution in professional esports, the first annual Overwatch World Cup took place at last year's BlizzCon, where 16 national teams competed for bragging rights.
Well, the best things about like some of these early tournaments, you know, behind the scenes, there's all these little problems, and we're all like, you know, it seems like everything's gonna like explode. But what saves it all is the games have been so good, this high level of play, even so early on in the lifespan of Overwatch, and it's just gonna get better from here.
Overwatch gave us an opportunity to do something a little bit different, still finding the best players, but the best country.
And Blizzard is not stopping there, because this year they are building on Overwatch esports with an even bigger global World Cup event.
Moving into 2017, what we're doing with the Overwatch World Cup is we're having a 3-phase approach. The first phase is something where every country is out there being able to earn ranking points. This is based on the average skill rating of the top 100 players from each nation. So anyone can get involved by trying to be the best in their nation. After that phase, we're taking the 32 best countries from that point and going straight to live events where it's going to be a group stage. In this group stage, there's 8 groups of 4 teams each, playing in a full round robin like in most traditional sports group stages, with the top 2 teams advancing to a playoff.
Where can we go for more details on the Overwatch World Cup?
Yeah, as of the announcement, you can go to playoverwatch.com/World Cup for all details about the program and understanding where we're at in the phase. And then when voting opens, that's also going to be your home for voting and watching.
All right, everybody, vote for me. Just don't vote.
You can level up and evolve your favorite Pokemon all you want, but you're never going to beat the competition if you don't level up yourself. We sent Will to the Pokemon World Championships where he picked up some serious tips from Pokemon pros.
My number 1 pro tip that I think is the biggest thing is learning how to thin your deck. One thing that's really important is getting the useless cards out of your deck, increasing the amount of good cards that are left in your deck to draw. One pro tip that a lot of players have learned to master in winning their game is figuring out which of your cards are prized. The first time you play a card that searches your deck, look through and try and get an idea of which are the most important cards of your deck. But when you're building a competitive deck, you want a really high amount of supporter cards. Those cards might not have exciting Pokemon on them, but they are some of the most exciting cards to help you win the game.
If you want to be a better player, you should test your deck a lot before a tournament. Play as many games as you possibly can, know your deck inside and out, know your list, know your matchups. When I build a deck, I focus on consistency. So have a lot of supporters, a lot of energies, a lot of outs to everything.
Playtest every deck as you can. Keep the secrets for yourself. The most people I follow are Igor Costa and Mies Brenningmeier, also good friends. What I have learned from Igor and Mies is playtest every day for each regional, for each Worlds, or even a League Cup. Play as many games as you can and don't stop it.
Coming up in just a minute, we'll reveal what you guys think are the 5 most anticipated games right now.
Then, Alana heads to Germany for Gamescom, the biggest and craziest video game convention in Europe.
And later, a review of Madden NFL 18 and the wonderful world of Lucille. The IGN Show will be right back. Welcome back to the IGN Show. Yesterday we started our countdown of the top 10 most anticipated games and revealed the first 5.
We gathered data from IGN.com, our YouTube channel, the IGN app, social media, data from all of our video platforms, and then added it all up to figure out what everybody was talking about. So let's get to the top 5.
Coming in at number 5 is Super Mario Odyssey. It's been a few years since we had a full-on 3D Mario exploration platformer. Nintendo Switch owners are really excited to get their hands on this one.
Sure.
Especially me, I love exploration Marios. I like to see his world and just jump around in it.
Sure, I would argue this is the second killer app for the Switch, the first being Breath of the Wild, sorry Splatoon 2. But the number 4 game on the list is Call of Duty World War II. After numerous forays into the future, the series is finally going back to a historical fiction setting, which of course is the root of Call of Duty, which excites me a lot because I think that Call of Duty Infinite Warfare was about mobility and kind of exosuits and jumping around all over the place. So we'll see if it can still hold up as just a run and gun shooter.
Right, and we saw the success of Battlefield 1 last year, and
Sure.
I'd really like to see what Call of Duty has to bring to that historical game.
Right.
And coming in at number 3 is the sequel to 2014 surprise hit Shadow of Mordor. Of course, I'm talking about Middle-earth Shadow of War. This game is bigger than the original in every respect.
The Nemesis system, RPG progression, you have like gear now, you can do a pick 3 system for the progression, so there's a lot to look forward to, and the world is just straight up bigger.
Yeah, I mean, really anything that builds on the Lord of the Rings franchise and like the series and that lore is exciting.
Sure. Number 2 is Star Wars Battlefront 2. This time we're getting some real single-player content, and the graphics in the game actually look better than the CG in the prequel trilogy. Can't imagine that's too difficult to do.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of time since those came out. But yeah, I'm just so excited for this game in its entirety. The multiplayer that I've gotten to play so far was great. I love that they added class system.
Sure.
And I'm looking forward to playing more.
Yeah, the thing that I like a lot is they are moving away from the pickup system for power-ups. Instead, it's a merit-based system. So you do well, you get those merits, and you can spend them on stuff like unlocking Darth Maul or vehicle. I think that's a lot easier to invest yourself in emotionally.
But Battlefront 2 is just slightly less anticipated than the number 1 game on our list, Destiny 2.
Yes.
Despite the fact that everyone's losing their gear and having to start over, it doesn't matter because we get more Destiny.
Doesn't matter to me. I think the thing, instead of just more Destiny, a better Destiny is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in a platform that they are potentially going to expand on, have more frequent content drops, and really kind of reveal the cadence for things like raids and strikes. And I hope they focus on PvE, but that's me personally. Of course, for all things Destiny, you can check out IGN's Fireteam chat. We still got plenty of time to wait for those games, so let's turn our attention to some friendly inter-office competition.
Overwatch just ended its annual Summer Games this week, and the main attraction, of course, was the return of Lucille Ball.
IGN's Max Scoville and Damon Hatfield decided to try their hand at the Rocket League-inspired mode and raise the stakes with some jacked-up physics.
Lucille Ball is an Overwatch game mode specific to the Summer Games event. Like soccer or perhaps Rocket League, players continue hitting the ball across the field until they score a goal in their opponent's net. Let's see what happens when you ramp up the physics and adjust the sensitivity of the ball in play.
All right, let's not do that thing again. You just swarmed me right away.
With that thing?
God, what? Mitch, can we unjack the balls now?
You can never unjack balls. You having fun over there?
I'm just
funny ball. This is like
I'm
super
just playing
balls.
with
This
my
is great.
jacked up ball.
Man. Oh.
And I just scored on myself.
Thank you. I didn't have to do anything. That was great. Okay, this is just not even fair. You're gonna bring out the healer? Oh, and there it goes. It's off again. Back to go over. Good God, come on! I'd love to take this back in time and show it to like somebody playing Pong.
They would say no.
They'd be like,
no, stop it. That ball is too jacked.
What am I looking at? There we go. At least, you know, that was at least sort of like a little back and forth. Oh, no.
Don't just roll right
No,
in
I get all
there.
charged up. I'm like, this is going to be sick, and then it just doesn't work at all. Oh.
I scored on myself again, everybody.
Wow. This game is great. I feel great about myself.
Everything coming up, go, Bill.
I feel like I'm good at things.
Max won this time around, but if you want to see the full 9-minute match, head to IGN.com.
WWE 2K18 is set to launch in just a few months, and the question everyone wants answered is, who's going to be in the game? Well, now you'll know because here's WWE SmackDown and Raw host Renee Young with a few reveals you won't see anywhere else.
WWE and IGN present the WWE 2K18 roster reveal.
Hey guys, welcome to the second edition of the WWE 2K18 roster reveal. I'm Renee Young, this handsome dapper man, Corey Graves.
That's so nice. This is why we're friends.
You want to bring on our next guest?
Why wait?
Let's do it. Let's bring him on out. Ladies and gentlemen, Samoa Joe. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to being a part of this game once again this year. But more important than that, I'm looking forward to seeing the many, many people on the roster who I'll be choking out.
Let's take a look right now at some of the new Legend additions.
Goldberg, or I'd like to call him the man that got out of WWE before I get my hands on him.
Viva la raza!
Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero.
Feel the glow with Naomi. The Boss, Sasha Banks. Everybody's favorite hugger, Bayley.
One of my greatest rivals, Shinsuke Nakamura. The Miz. And the so-called big dog, Roman Reigns.
The most electrifying man in entertainment, The Rock. The King of Kings, Triple H.
Time to play the game!
In this year's special pre-order character, Olympic gold medalist and Raw General Manager, Kurt Angle. The Beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. And the champ, John Cena. All right, this has been brought to you by WWE 2K and IGN. We'll be back next week when we reveal more of the roster here on 2K18. And we're also going to have another special guest with us.
I have someone very, very special in mind, Renee. I think you in particular are going to enjoy.
I hope so.
Be sure to tune in next week for more exclusive reveals.
Still in the way, we've got my top 5 games of all time and Alana's adventures at Gamescom.
Plus, we review Madden NFL 18 and keep our fingers crossed that the curse doesn't strike again. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the IGN Show. Gamescom is the biggest video game convention in Europe. It's so big, the total attendance is about 6 times the amount of people at E3.
Yeah, and with a crowd that huge, you've got to have one of the year's biggest games to play, like Star Wars Battlefront II. Alana was there with the latest.
Battlefront II Starfighter Assault Mode is fast-paced and fun, and every single vehicle feels totally different, not only because it has different abilities, but also because it handles differently. And thankfully, even though I did die quite a few times, sometimes just by crashing into something, some other times because someone target-locked me, Battlefront 2's transitions between spawns are really fast, letting you pick your ship and see its abilities at a glance and then jump right back into the action. I only had a chance to try out one map, but it was absolutely gorgeous seeing the depth of space in this dogfighting mayhem with explosions and lasers all over the place. And I did try out 4 Empire vehicles, a TIE fighter, a bomber, an interceptor, and my favorite, Slave 1. And it's crazy, the sound design is still so spot on in Battlefront. That was totally spot on in Battlefront 1, but seeing it in space this time around Something about that makes it feel like a more real Star Wars fantasy experience. Unlike Starfighter Assault in the first Battlefront though, iconic ships like the Millennium Falcon or Slave One are no longer tied to tokens you find in the world. Instead, as you take down enemies and complete objectives, you'll earn battle points that you can use to buy a special ship for a round. I think this is a huge improvement over the last Battlefront, and in this demo, they were 1,000 points each to get the hero ships, but apparently that is going to be scaled a little differently for full release. Unsurprisingly, Battlefront 2 still looks absolutely gorgeous, with ships that are straight out of the films and a frame rate that held steady even in the middle of frantic battles. So Burnout and Need for Speed developer Criterion Games is working on Starfighter Assault, and the studio's vehicle expertise shines through with controls that are more responsive than they were in the first game, allowing for far more precision as you're evading enemies or chasing after a target. I managed to pull off a bunch of really tight maneuvers that I never thought that I would have been able to, and I picked it up really easily. And one thing I think that Criterion has totally nailed here is that even if you're upside down, you don't feel disorientated. It's really easy to figure out where fire is coming from or where you should be firing to. And even having ships from all of the Star Wars trilogies doesn't feel odd here. It's not weird having things from the original trilogy, and it's not weird having things from the prequel trilogy together in the same space because it's really well balanced. Overall, I think that this fixes a lot of the problems that people had with the last Battlefront game, and I think this is also going to be a really great place for people who've never even played Battlefront to jump in. It controls so well that I wonder if, even if you aren't a Star Wars fan, you'll probably really enjoy it. I found it incredibly satisfying and was really hard to pull me off of that console. It is going to be available on PS4, Xbox One, and PC on November 17th.
Coming up in just a minute, we've got a review of Madden NFL 18. But first, it's time for some games that I know for sure are amazing. That's because they're my top 5.
Welcome back to the IGN Show. Fall means it's time to go back to school, new TV shows premiere, movies get serious, and of course, everyone starts obsessing about football and Madden NFL 18. Here's our review of EA's latest edition.
And it's Wilson. Well, the catch is made here by Tyler Lockett.
Madden NFL 18's move to the Frostbite engine brings the expected dramatic improvements to graphics and, more surprisingly, the absolutely wonderful story mode, Long Shot. But on the field, this year's Madden misses a big opportunity to really make its mark with significantly refreshed gameplay. The graphics in Madden NFL 18 are fascinating. Lighting effects, realistic body types, and stadium and uniform detail are all majorly improved over last year's game. Player animations look more fluid thanks to enhanced movement and interaction. The most obvious addition is the new target passing mechanic, which allows you to lead your pass catcher. This effectively adds a crazy fast, skill-based minigame inside the passing game. It'll give competitive players something to practice and become good at, but it's tough to learn and not much fun. The unexpected highlight of Madden NFL 18 is that EA Sports finally breathes life into the single-player side with the introduction of Long Shot mode. A fantastic story-based experience using a strong cast of motion-captured actors and a well-written script full of important feeling choices. The 5-hour story follows promising quarterback Devin Wade through high school, college, and the NFL dream, presenting you with engaging Mass Effect-style decisions and button prompts that affect your football IQ, draft grade, and social standing. After the campaign, you go straight to Madden Ultimate Team, which is instantly filled with players, coaches, stadiums, and uniforms from Longshot. There are 27 Longshot-specific solo challenges, one of which is a respectful nod towards EA's NCAA franchise. It's a great way to continue the story of Devin Wade after completing the story mode. It's disappointing that franchise mode was virtually untouched, though. We do get Madden Ultimate Team Squads, which is the latest addition to the built-in collectible card game. Squads is a 3-on-3 mode, with each player assuming a role as the offensive captain, the defensive captain, or the head coach. The on-field team is a mix of the 3 teammates' Ultimate Team lineups, opening up some really cool possibilities. The shift to the Frostbite engine definitely lets Madden NFL 18 look fantastic, and Longshot makes great use of that to tell a short but powerful against-all-odds story. MUT Squads also opens up a new way to play with more than 2 players. But beyond that, the underwhelming feel of gameplay improvements and lack of much of anything new within franchise, Madden NFL 18 sails wide right in the final seconds. That said, being a much better looking version of a solid football game with a great new story mode makes it at least a significant improvement, even if it's more incremental than we hoped. Coming up on our next episode, Peter Parker himself, Tom Holland, will be put to the test and answer the real hard questions like Spider-Man villain or professional wrestler.
And we'll be reviewing Mario Plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle for the Nintendo Switch, which is super weird and super tactical.
Then we'll take you inside the esports scene for one of the most popular games of all time, World of Warcraft.
Yep, and that does it for this episode of the IGN Show. I know, we're sad too.
But remember to keep locked to IGN and check us out on Snapchat.
Thanks for watching. Tom Holland is, in fact, a gymnast.
What?
I've seen videos.
He does
doing
parkour
flips.
and stuff?
Yeah, he can actually do like a flip and do the tumbling, and it's impressive.